Do you remember how we met?
No.
Well, we were working G&E on an 80s action film about 15 years ago.
Right.
And
this is not Genie, by the way.
G&E.
Right.
Which stands for Grip and Electric, which is part of the lighting crew on a film set.
Right.
We were working G&E.
Right.
And
on a celebrated classic that we probably shouldn't name here.
We can't say it now
for licensing reasons.
But it's a big one. It was a big film.
Yeah.
First day on set, you came up to the entire crew and you were offering each person fruit stripes and
the zebra gum
fruit stripes that lasts about 10 seconds.
It's a yummy fruity one.
Yeah. And you walked up to me and you said, "Fruit stripes?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." And you said, "Fruit stripes." And I said, "Okay." And ever since then, we've
hosted a podcast.
Ever since then, we've been acquaintances.
True that. I don't remember that. I hate fruit stripes gum. Why was I chewing it?
I can't.
Why did I have it? I was probably trying to get rid of it.
I don't know. You're probably just showing off or something. It was just around the new recruits.
That's right.
What kind of junk food did you like to eat as a kid?
I ate a lot of Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you call that junk food? I would.
Yeah, probably.
It's junk. It's garbage.
Pizza rolls, Totino's pizza rolls. You ever tried those?
Yeah. Yeah.
The big one that comes to mind too is Bagel Bites. They don't make those anymore, but the jingle is always rattling around in my head. Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime. Yeah, that's it.
It's
effective.
stuck.
That's effective marketing 30 years after the fact, and we still got it in there.
The kids say that lives rent-free in your head. That's what they say.
They also, I don't know. I think most of the junk food was like from Hostess and Little Debbie. Did you ever eat any of those?
I did, but I was never a huge fan of that stuff. What I did like was I called them hand pies. They're the pies.
The Hostess fruit pies?
The Hostess fruit pies.
I was going to say the same thing. That's actually one of the only things that I think fondly of are these Hostess fruit pies, which are basically like glazed pieces of dry dough just filled with fruit pie, sugar, whatever.
Yeah, and it's like free-basing sugar.
Yeah, I did either blueberry or I did cherry. Didn't like the apple.
Apple was always my favorite, but you remember like the lemon?
Oh yeah.
It was like an iridescent yellow. I think it was, I think it glowed in the dark or
Definitely
something.
not the kind of color you should be eating when it comes to foods.
They were bad too. I didn't like those ones. I experienced this phenomenon at one point in my adulthood where I was like, man, when we were growing up, there were just games and toys and all this sort of stuff. And I just never see commercials for that anymore. And then at some point later, I realized, it's because I don't watch Nickelodeon anymore.
Yeah.
Then, a kid, I was in the room with a kid who was watching a children's cable channel. And I was like, oh, yeah, they still got games and stuff. No kidding.
Towards the end of one of my semesters at college, me and my roommates, we were really bad about returning our bottles and cans to the store. And if you're not from the Midwest, some states don't do this, but basically you buy soda cans, soda bottles, and stores will have a deposit on those things, and you bring them back and you get the deposit back for it. So we had about $25 or $30 worth of deposits at the end of the semester, and we had nothing to spend them on. So we just went to the store and we went down the Hostess Little Debbie aisle, and I remember seeing this kid who was just begging his mom to give him just one of these little sugary boxes, zebra cakes or whatever. And me and my roommates come down that aisle and just start grabbing anything that we can see and throwing it into our cart.
Like it's supermarket sweet.
I just remember
that kid looked at you and he thought, I can't wait to be a man.
That's exactly what it was. He looked up at us. There was awe in his eyes, and you could see this is what adulthood's going to be like. You can go to the store anytime you want and get any kind of sugary snacks that you want.
I'm going to be that kind of grown up. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Long Road Home Alone. The Long Road Home Alone, as I like to call it in my personal life.
The long road home alone.
The long home road alone. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I got it. We're good.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm Joey Z. You're Jimmy.
I'm very happy to be here. As always, I've got my Air Michael Jordans on. They're really comfortable.
They look really nice.
They haven't made me better at basketball. I just want to say that.
I think they've made you marginally better at basketball, but previously you were playing barefoot.
That's true.
The bar was low, but the rim's always 10 feet, baby.
I haven't gotten any hoops.
Well, keep trying.
Oh, well.
It's what's important in life. What are we talking about today?
Pizza. 10 pizzas times $12.
Pizza.
I tell you what,
Lovely cheese pizza just for me.
If I had to say that there was one food group that had the most influence on the film Home Alone, it's pizza.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our film starts off with pizza. It gets delivered basically 2 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
It's also, basically the inciting incident. Our main protagonist, Kevin McAllister of this film, Home Alone, directed by Chris Columbus back in 1990. He's basically left at home because...
The Home Alone, as we sometimes call it.
The Home Alone. He's basically left the home alone because of a discrepancy with pizza.
Right. Yeah. Is it a discrepancy? Is it an oversight? Is it somebody's fault?
Yeah.
Is it?
It could be Buzz's fault.
Could be Buzz's fault.
I don't know. I've also often wondered, why is it that Kevin is the kind of individual who only likes cheese pizza? What is it about toppings in general? Is that all it is? You have to grow out of it?
Yeah.
Did you only like cheese pizza when you were a kid?
No. But it's a relatable thing. I mean,
it's not relatable to Fuller. It's not relatable to Brooke. They're eating olives and sausage. I saw it. I saw it on their pizza.
They might just not be as crabby about it.
I guess that could be it.
We don't know what happened. I mean, Uncle Frank could have pulled on their earlobes and gone, quit complaining about it and eat the dang pizza.
I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is that Kevin is just afraid of adventure and he doesn't want to try new toppings.
I don't think we have to go that far. Kids are picky eaters. Lots of kids are picky eaters.
All right, fine.
I don't like all that stuff. I just want cheese.
Kevin's the only kid who's a picky eater in this whole family, apart from Buzz, who ate the whole cheese pizza.
I'm saying not. You're saying he is, and then you're saying that's unbelievable.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
Little Nero's thinly veiled reference
to Nero's.
Little Caesars.
Little Caesars.
Little Nero's. Nero was a famous Roman emperor, which is similar to a Caesar, right?
Nero was not a Caesar.
No, he was an emperor.
He was an emperor.
You have Caesar Augustus. You have Julius Caesar. At some point, they stopped being called Caesars and they were just called emperors.
Yeah, there's a great movie you got to see called Gladiator. And that'll teach you Marcus Aurelius and Joaquin Phoenix.
That's where pizza comes from, because that's the Roman Empire. Pizza came from Rome.
Pizza, yeah. But they didn't put pizza on a bagel.
No.
That was the Romans when they came to New York, I think.
The Romans conquered New York, and then they put pizza on a bagel.
On a bagel.
It's a collaboration between Roman and Jewish cultures.
Yeah, and they said, let the people eat pizza anytime, they said.
Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. No fiddling around.
No fiddling around. That's a great one. That's a great one, by the way.
What do you think was the tip that Kate gave to the pizza boy for him to have waited 10, 15 minutes in this foyer?
I think she gave him $150.
You think
she's got the cash, right? Forget it, Frank. We have cash. She's paying in cash. She's not writing a check or anything. I think she gave him $350s.
Oh, okay. See,
because the bill's $122.50. I bet she just handed him $350s and said, keep the change.
I think she had all 20s, and I think she gave him $140, and I think she gave him $17.50 tip.
Well, I think she gave him $150.
All right. Well, think whatever you want.
Yeah.
The pizza boy says, nice tip.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So and he means it.
Yeah. He was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get paid $20, $30 for 15 minutes back in 1990. That's well over an hour's worth of minimum wage. So,
you ask any pizza delivery driver and they'll say it's sort of a flawed system, with tipping, because
based on percentages.
Right. I mean, we live in a tipping culture, right? For better or for worse. There are a lot of service jobs where an individual in the service industry relies on tips. There is a social contract that is widely understood where, okay, this sort of service, I'm expected to give a tip to this person because they're not being compensated enough fairly, right? So I am in part shouldering the burden of paying this individual for having used their service, right?
Yeah.
And you'll hear delivery drivers say, now this is probably, I don't know, I would say maybe it's been mitigated some with like suggested tips. I don't know how that works in apps and stuff, if it factors this in. But back in the day, in the traditional model where you were like paying for the pizza and giving a tip because you weren't paying with a credit card over the phone or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The delivery driver would say people don't understand that the tipping model isn't or shouldn't be the same when I'm driving to your house to deliver pizza. I don't care if I'm delivering 1 pizza or 10 pizzas. You should be tipping me based on how far I had to drive. Is the pizza parlor 10 blocks from your house? Did it take me 2 minutes to drive here?
Yeah.
Or is it across town? Did it take me 25 minutes to drive here?
Yeah.
You know, because if you order 1 pizza, but you're a 20-minute drive away, and then you give me a 10% tip on 1 pizza, you're ripping me off.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it shouldn't be based on percentages when it comes to delivery.
Right. I think that's what delivery drivers would say. But I don't know that the average consumer has been trained to know that.
No.
You know, you tip at a restaurant, you tip a percentage, you go a 20%. That's a pretty good tip. If you tip 20% on a $15 pizza, $1.50 or something like that, you know. Also, a lot of times these drivers are driving their own vehicles.
Yeah. I've actually known quite a few pizza delivery guys over the course of my life. And it feels like kind of a raw deal. You drive your own vehicles and any maintenance that's required because your job as you're driving is just sort of supposed to come out of your own pocket.
It's tough. Yeah. Even driving a taxi, like you rent a medallion, you lease the car every week or whatever, but like, it's not your car.
Yeah.
You know, you're not on the hook for a massive replacement part or something like that.
With pizza delivery in particular, most pizza places charge a delivery fee as well. And I think a lot of people think, well, why do we need to tip the pizza delivery person if there's a delivery fee? But for the most part, that delivery fee doesn't go to the pizza person. It just goes to the store because they had to hire somebody to send you out. I don't know.
So maybe the delivery fee is paying that paltry hourly wage.
Could be.
So you're really paying the entire wage of the delivery driver.
Yeah, pretty much.
They say, I'm paying a delivery fee and I need to give a tip.
Yes.
But the convenience can't be argued with. To have a pizza delivered to your house and that's the other thing too, right? What is it in for Little Nero's? It's 20 minutes or it's free? 30 minutes?
30 minutes or it's free. I don't know. How long does it take to cook a pizza? You order a pizza, they put it in the oven. It's got to be out in like 15 minutes at most for you to be able to get those in boxes, I think sliced up and shipped out and delivered.
Little Nero's, it's 10 minutes tops. They're baking those pizzas quick.
I'm telling you, man, it's a flawed business model. Do not attach that time constraint to it.
Does this exist?
People don't expect it either, you know? Like if pizza shows up late, I feel like I don't really care.
Know.
That's not a selling point for me.
I don't know. I think you're giving the average consumer too much credit.
I guess that could be it.
Maybe you're a gracious customer, but
I should be more aggressive.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wouldn't expect so much from your fellow man.
I should tip less.
People are really, if that's what you're taking away from this, then you take it up with you and your God.
All right.
Who is it?
It's Little Nero, sir. I have your pizza.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
Okay. Well, what about the money?
What money?
Well, you have to pay for your pizza, sir.
What brands of pizza do you generally order from? Assuming you order from a brand and not just a local pizzeria.
Well, I will say I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to chain pizza. I like a lot of them. I'll tell you my least favorite in the big chains.
What is it?
It's got to be Papa John's.
Oh, wow.
I don't like Papa John's at all. I think it's gross.
I kind of like Papa John's. I don't like Pizza Hut.
Okay. Pizza Hut has really fallen from grace. I feel like a lot of Pizza Huts have closed. I don't see as many pizza. It doesn't feel like it's the dominant chain that it was in the 90s.
No. As of right now, though, I do have a list of the top 5 pizzerias or pizza brands in the United States. The first is Papa Murphy's, based in Vancouver, Washington.
Wait, now Papa Murphy's is the take and bake, right?
I don't know what it is. I've never heard of Papa Murphy's because I live in the Midwest.
Oh, I think we got them in the Midwest.
We do?
I think, unless I'm confusing it with another brand, the Papa Murphy's is the take and bake model. That's you go into the store.
You take an uncooked pizza.
You take an uncooked pizza. Yeah, but they make the whole thing for you, and then it's got the baking instructions.
Got it.
You take it home, and then
they used to do that as like Boy Scout
between
cookies, sort of. Like Little Caesars would pass out these little pizza kits that you could buy from school kids who came to your door or whatever, trying to sell it to you. Yeah.
It's the spot in between the frozen pizza and the baked for you pizza.
Yeah.
But I think you bake it the day of. You don't like toss it in the fridge, and it's supposed to be like it's a fresh model. Do it now. But I think you save some money on it. I think maybe that's the concept. That's the model. Is
they
Papa
don't have
Murphy's.
To freeze their products. Maybe is what
and
it
they don't
be.
have to bake it.
Yeah.
There's a less of an energy cost for it, and they can probably operate in a smaller space. They don't need the infrastructure. They don't need the pizza oven.
Number 4. Papa John's, Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Sorry to have to mention that. Number 3, Little Caesars, based in Detroit, Michigan.
Yep.
Number 2 is Pizza Hut, based in Plano, Texas, or founded in Plano, Texas.
Interesting. Plano, Texas, also the home of Dr. Pepper 7-Up Keurig.
I did not know that.
Are they affiliated? Are they associated
Could be related,
somehow?
yeah.
Because I know Yum Brands, that's in Louisville.
Yeah.
Is Papa John's? Did you say that's...
Papa John's is Louisville.
Yeah. There's some parallels going on here. Plano, Louisville, these are already the homes of major food industry.
You know what it could be is that they were companies that were founded in all of these various different places, and they've now just come under the banner of a major... Yeah. Number 1, though.
Gotta be Domino's, right?
It is Domino's.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that. For some reason, I thought Jets and I thought Hungry Howie's were national brands. They're not. They're Midwestern. Jets famous for Detroit style pizza, which I really like.
Style.
Yeah. As far as styles go for pizzas, what do you like on the variants? I didn't realize there were nearly as many as there are.
I think you get New York and Chicago, the big voices in the room, and they're drowning everybody else out. And they're creating this false binary where they're going, is it New York style or is it Chicago style? And so it's like the age old fight. Yeah. And I'm going, Detroit style. Sorry, bigger cities. Detroit style is clearly better than both.
Detroit
style pizza is terrific.
Detroit style is where it's at for me. I've had one Chicago deep style pizza that I liked. And I had it on the same night that I saw John Carpenter play live at Thalia Hall in Chicago. So I'm going to say that colored the experience just a little bit.
You were happy already.
Yeah. But overall, Chicago style pizza, nah, I don't need it. I can go with New York style pizza, but I'd take Detroit any day. Jets in particular, I really love Jets pizza as far as, I don't know, the cheaper pizza versions of pizza go.
You had Buddies?
I haven't had Buddies.
Buddies is good.
Yeah.
Buddies is good.
You like Sbarro's?
No.
Mall pizza? Mall pizza posing as New York pizza?
And it's not even like New York pizza.
No, it's like it's super thin, isn't it? Like, and it's super. What defines a New York style pizza? I feel like it's the large slices.
New York style pie is big.
Okay.
Yeah, the crust isn't, and it's hand tossed. The crust isn't thick.
Yes,
but it's not thin like the crispy style, right? It's soft, it's big, and the slice, you fold it in half.
That's right.
It's handheld.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, there's great New York pizza. There's expensive New York pizza. There's the famous varieties. They put all the special stuff on it. But I think truly, bottom line, New York style pizza is cheap. It's scant ingredients. It's just barely any sauce at all.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest dough. It's the cheapest cheese. Yeah. It's like Kevin would like. It's cheese pizza. In my mind, a New York style slice is like cheese pizza, maybe pepperoni.
Having had Detroit style pizza many times, and I really love it, I don't know what it is that defines a Detroit style pizza, except that they're usually in a rectangular shape versus a circle.
It's a deep dish. It's a true, but it's the deep dish pizza where the most of the dish is the dough.
Yeah.
Right? It's the bread.
Yeah.
It's very buttery.
Yeah.
And I believe the traditional style is there's enough cheese that it goes around all of the edges.
That's
so
right.
If you have any edge of the pizza, it's that crispy cheese that makes up the crust of it.
That's right. There really isn't any kind of like crust segment of the Detroit style.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Chicago style pizza that I don't like, it feels like a pot pie with just spaghetti sauce in it or something. There's just too much sauce for me. Not enough breading. It feels a little too much like a pot pie.
I like Chicago style. I just think calling it pizza is a misnomer.
Yeah.
It doesn't
seem
feel
like pizza
to me.
Yeah. As far as cheap pizza versus expensive pizza, do you actually enjoy expensive pizza? Do you feel like you get something out of it?
I mean, I don't need it. I rarely need it. It's not like a steak to me where it's like I would always much rather have a really nice steak than a cheap steak. I mean, I would typically rather have cheap pizza.
I think that's how it works for me as well. I feel the same way about pizza as I do about ice cream. I don't need to spend a lot of money on ice cream to be satisfied. And if I do spend more, I'm usually just disappointed that I didn't just buy a cheaper version of the ice cream. I'm usually just fine with vanilla soft serve cones. And when it comes to pizza, if I'm spending $25, $30 on a single pie, why didn't I just go to the store and get a DiGiorno or something? Because I would have felt the same.
You ever spend $25, $30 on an ice cream cone?
I have not.
Do you think you could?
No.
I mean, do you think it's available somewhere?
I'm sure it's available somewhere. I'd never do it. That's insanity.
What if it's the best ice cream you ever had?
I'm sure it's not going to be that much better than the worst ice cream I've ever had.
So I want to point out something about the economics of pizza. We've said it many times on the show before. We know exactly how much these pizzas cost, right? $122.50, $120 basically, right? 10 pizzas times $12.
That's $11.80, sir, for a single cheese pizza.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. Consistent in this world. So 1989, 1990-ish, whenever we're imagining this story takes place, right in there. A pizza is $12, right? A large pizza is $12. Similarly, I remember being a kid, before I was buying pizza for myself, in my household, we never got delivery pizza. Never once in my life. We always went, we called, we ordered it, we went and picked it up, right? But 2, even that was really a rare occasion because pizza was expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in the 90s, a pizza with multiple toppings on it easily being like close to $20.
I don't remember having any understanding of how much pizza cost back in the day. I do remember those same things though. For my 9th birthday, we got Little Caesars. And I remember my dad had to go get it because we just didn't get delivery, which is strange too, particularly with Little Caesars, because I feel like I don't even think they do delivery anymore. They only do takeout or hot and ready for the most part.
Well, I think the model changed at some point. And this sort of fascinates me about pizza in particular, because I think it's one of very few consumer goods that really has managed to keep its pricing locked in the past. I think that the pizza industry in general has changed enough and gotten competitive in ways that it must not have been in the 90s and before, where they've managed to drive the price down of pizza so much that pizza today, I think, is cheaper than it was per pizza pie 20 years ago.
Well, talking about Domino's specifically, you can get basically like a one topping or two topping large pizza for $11, which is cheaper than even what Little Nero's was offering in Home Alone. So yeah, it does seem strange that the pricing hasn't gone up. There's like a ceiling people are willing to pay for pizza before they start going to other venues.
Right.
Similar to what you were saying, what we were talking about before. How much are you willing to pay for a pizza? Because once you get to a certain point, you stop thinking, do I really want pizza anymore? Or should I be spending money on something that's just a little nicer, maybe a steak or, yeah.
Right. Well, I think like the, Mike Ilitch, for instance, the now deceased, but the founder and the longtime owner and CEO of Little Caesars, right? I think was sort of an innovator in the space in the 21st century. I think he really saw an opportunity with the hot and ready, the $5 hot and ready. Before that, for, since time immemorial, Little Caesars was, it was a chain pizza joint, but it was a pizza joint, right? It was the traditional model. You called ahead, you ordered the pizza with the toppings that you wanted. And the only edge, if any, Little Caesars had was, do you like our pizza? Do you like it more? Do you like the taste of it more than Pizza Hut?
Well, they also offered crazy bread. So
right. Yeah, it's exactly. And I think that it was that sort of novel approach, the $5 hot and ready. Let's make pizza truly fast food.
Yeah.
I think we're losing out a lot of potential customers to McDonald's and Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken, not necessarily because a consumer wants a burger or chicken right now, but because it's fast.
Yeah.
And we know people love pizza. Can we make pizza fast? But it also has to be cheap.
Paying $5 for a single large pizza is what
the savings is incredible. And it's like a classic loss leader, right? It's the loss leader strategy. You lead with the product that doesn't actually make you money, but enough people are going to come in at that price point and they're saving so much money on a $5 pizza. They're going to buy a 2-liter of soda pop for $2.50, or they're going to buy the dipping sauces or the crazy bread or whatever.
Yeah. I've got to wonder what it was that made them able to create these pizzas at such a low cost compared to what all of the other pizzerias were doing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just over time in general, you've said things get more expensive as time goes by. That's how inflation works. But pizza is a constant. People are only willing to pay so much for it. And how is it that 30 years have gone by and we're paying less now than what the McAllisters were paying? Is it cheaper ingredients? Is it a more efficient way of,
I think it's all the above. It's all of the above, right? I think it's like, it's increased efficiency, it's competition, right? Razor thin margins.
Yeah.
But I think pizza chains in particular have become really efficient at producing pizzas.
Yeah.
And I think not only are they leveraging sourcing and supply chains and bulk discounts on ingredients and all that sort of thing, but I think they probably learned at some point to go back to, the preference of good pizza over cheap pizza.
Yeah.
They must have realized at some point that, wow, we can really cut down on the quality ingredients here and people aren't complaining.
Yeah, maybe not make the dough every time, just a frozen pizza dough that's just like pulled out of the oven. Maybe that, You
eat a hot and ready now, and I mean, the dough is really uninspired, right? And there's no seasoning in it.
I think it's mostly just butter. Yeah, it's just butter and
that
cheese.
Butter probably is oil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the butter you put on popcorn and not so much like stick butter.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting, maybe exception where in the 90s, meanwhile, gas was so consistently $1 something that on the gas sign, the 1 was painted. It was permanent. I mean, you remember that?
Yes.
You know, the dollar amount was always going to be 1 and then the cents were variable.
Yeah.
Now gas is, you know, reliably, even in the Midwest where it's cheaper, $3 and something.
Yeah.
But pizza, we're getting that cheaper than ever.
Mike Ilitch. What do you know about that guy?
What a mensch. Fantastically rich. I'm famously not a huge fan of the ultra rich, but everything I know about Mike Ilitch is he was a man of a big heart, and I think he had a solid moral compass. I know he was quite a philanthropist. One thing in particular I know about him is that, and I don't know when it was revealed. I don't know if it was only after his death, but for years he quietly paid Rosa Parks rent in Detroit.
And didn't tell anybody about it.
Well, certainly didn't tell the public about it. I mean, she knew who was paying her rent. And of course, he could afford it, you know, but I think the gesture alone is a testament to where his moral compass was. I guess Rosa Parks got, she had moved to Detroit maybe in the 60s or something. And then in the 90s, she was living in a part of Detroit that wasn't particularly safe, and she got mugged or she got robbed or something. So she wanted to move, but she couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And so Ilitch ponied up and I think paid her rent for the rest of her life.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And particularly that he, I don't know, didn't want people to know about it. Just like, I want to do a service to the community, or I want to do a service to this one person, but I don't want it to seem like a cheap gesture that makes me look.
Right. He didn't do it for publicity. He didn't do it like through the philanthropic wing, right, to save some taxes or whatever, move some money around. He just did it because he was able.
Well, I got the sense as a sports club owner, he owned the Red Wings and he owned the Tigers.
Yeah.
He was somebody who just genuinely appreciated the sport and wanted. He
did love the games.
Yeah, particularly baseball. I know he was a baseball player for a few years in the minor league before he started Little Caesars.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, for 4 years, I think. And then he suffered a knee injury. And then shortly thereafter, he started Little Caesars.
If you can't play the boys' game, then make the boys' food.
Yep. Make pizza, then buy the baseball team and
live the dream vicariously.
Did anyone order me a plain cheese?
Oh, yeah, we did. If you want any, somebody's gonna have to barf it all up, because it's gone.
Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi.
Remember back in the 90s when Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out and Pepsi created these, like, you basically could get a collection of Pepsi cans that had faces of all of various different characters.
Yeah, I remember.
Think there's something like close to 48 different cans or
48? Are you kidding me?
No,
I thought there were like 6.
No, it's probably closer to 24. I doubled it.
Wow. No. Okay. I mean, I do remember it as sort of this vague cultural touchstone. I wasn't participating.
They marketed the hell out of Phantom Menace, particularly with Pepsi products. Like, not only did you have the Pepsi cans, which you would go and try to catch them all or whatever, which me and my dad actually did one that summer. We went and tried to get them all. And the only one I didn't get was the gold Yoda, which I guess there weren't very many of those printed.
Was that another one of those? It just seems like a bottomless pit of scams over and over and over again, that it was just like someone on the inside took them and they never actually hit the market.
From what I understood, that's sort of what it felt like. It's people who worked at the factory saw them and, I'll take that golden can there.
Yeah, the golden ticket model.
You had a similar well, there was another Pepsi scandal. I guess it wasn't a scandal, but they had these Pepsi point things where you would you'd unscrew a cap or you would open a can and you'd find out how many points you got from it.
Yeah.
And there was this one guy, because Pepsi had advertised, if you save up enough points, you can buy a Harrier jet.
What?
Yeah. And there's an actual court case where this guy sued Pepsi because he got enough of the points required to buy a Harrier jet and they wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah, no kidding. How much is a Harrier jet? Like $50 million? That's outrageous. How many points did he have?
I can't remember how many points it was.
I gotta find out more about
He
this.
did actually achieve the number of points, or he at least paid how much money it would have taken to achieve those points. And Pepsi said, no, that was just kind of like a gimmick. It was just in advertising. We're not actually selling you a Harrier jet. Can a private citizen even own a Harrier jet? That's got to be some kind of...
I mean...
Like, if you have a license, can you just fly a Harrier jet around Chicago if you feel like it?
Well, I mean, largely would depend on the licensing and the airspace.
Oh, okay.
I would think.
Phantom Menace was also doing these things where you could go to, it was similar to what McDonald's did with the Monopoly thing. Did you ever play that game?
Yeah, well, that one was one of them that was rigged.
It was specifically rigged. You couldn't get Boardwalk.
I think so.
I can't even remember what the prizes were.
They did it a whole bunch of times. They did that game for years, but there was some sort of scandal at one point where I was like, no, I mean, Boardwalk like never left the hands of like some exec's kid or something.
Yeah, I do remember going to McDonald's pretty frequently when those Monopoly games were playing. It was fun to like peel the sticker off, like, oh, maybe I'll, it's kind of like lottery tickets. You get
right.
Except you get fast food with it as well. You get burgers.
Now was that a lot of these games in order to skirt like state lottery laws, right? Because you can't, for instance, you can't run your own numbers game, right? The state licenses itself to run a lottery commission or whatever, but like you can't run your own lottery legally. So a lot of these games, they have to say no purchase necessary, right? You get it automatically with the purchase, but they have to make it available to play without a purchase as well.
I see.
Was this
That's right. Well, and if you got Park Place and Boardwalk, that was like $1 million. It was $1 million. I think you got. And if you got any of the other ones, it was, anyway.
Well, and they flooded the market with Park Places to make it seem like you were halfway there.
I remember.
But there was never a Boardwalk ticket.
I remember every time I got a Park Place, oh man, that wasn't the one I needed.
I already have that one.
Oh, I needed Boardwalk. I almost had $1 million.
It's only 2 dice rolls away.
Yeah. The one thing I did enjoy about those is that you would get free drinks and free sandwiches from them.
That was
which
the only value. Was like the free small fry or whatever.
I don't need any of these Monopoly properties. I don't give a fridge about any of that.
Not one care. Yeah. What was that all about anyway?
What was McDonald's about?
Well, you'd brought it up.
I don't know. We were talking about pizza and burgers. Seemed like it was close.
I guess so. Yeah. Do you
have and like, I mean, the McAllisters live on Park Place and Boardwalk essentially, so it's
it really ties
sort
in.
of related.
I feel like we've stayed on topic this episode. I mean, we're talking about Home Alone, we're talking about
Pepsi.
Pizza.
I mean, Uncle Frank was splashed with so much Pepsi.
Yeah.
Well, and then Buzz ate all of the pizza. It really is like Home Alone in general is just this movie about how snacks and trying to feed your family can make it so that you leave a family member behind when you didn't intend to.
Right. And Kraft macaroni and cheese.
I just love the way. So it's Peter that spills the Pepsi onto the plate. He sees the passports and then he spills the Pepsi onto he just dumps an entire 2-liter on the table, leaves it there. I love Uncle Frank's reaction to it. Watch it.
Fascinating.
And then you can hear him shouting behind there, help me out with this,
If you had been there, what would you have done?
Not bashed Fuller in the face.
Would you dry off passports in the microwave?
That is what they planned. They were going to dry. I don't think of microwaves as something that dries things off.
No.
It heats things up.
Yeah.
It doesn't dry them off. You got to put them in the oven if you want them to be dried off.
Right. Don't put them in the microwave.
Yeah. And don't put them in the oven over 451 because, that's the temperature.
Right.
Yeah.
You can probably set your oven to 200. Yeah. Like the warm setting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what you're going to have to do.
All right. Any listeners?
What time do you think everyone went to bed, by the way?
I think that's a conversation for a different day.
Did they stay up late drinking? I mean,
I definitely think they stayed up late drinking.
They must have.
Yeah.
They're so groggy in the
There's
morning.
no more beer in the fridge.
Well,
Just
there is
one can.
There is some beer in the fridge.
According to the deleted scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May not be fact. There's no pizza left over the day after. Nothing tucked in the fridge.
Nothing. They got to eat it all up.
Yeah.
They ate 10 pizzas.
Well, I think maybe the rationale was that if, so they ate all of these pizzas and then they're going away to Paris. So why bother putting it in the fridge? The pizza's going to be bad by the time, or stale or whatever, by the time they get back.
How many pizzas do you think you could eat?
In one sitting?
Yeah.
Probably one.
Yeah.
How many pizzas can you eat?
Can I?
Yeah. Could you eat a whole cheese pizza? What kind of toppings do you like on your pizza?
I like olives. I like onions, jalapenos, mushrooms. I don't hate bacon. Pepperoni's okay. It's a classic. I'm not nuts about a ton of meat. I don't like ham on a pizza, really.
Yeah.
I don't really love sausage. But when it comes right down to it, I'm not all that picky. I like spaghetti on a pizza. You ever had that?
No, that sounds disgusting.
Well, it's good. Avoid the Noid. Remember him?
No,
The Noid.
I've never heard of this.
He was the Domino's Noid. He was the Domino's mascot. But our producer just said that we should talk about Pepsi Man.
Pepsi Man.
Pepsi Man. Do you remember Pepsi Man?
No.
I don't remember Pepsi Man.
Is that
I remember,
it's a mascot for Pepsi?
I guess. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola has Santa the Claus as their mascot.
I feel like most
And
modern
polar bears, I guess.
renditions of Santa Claus are based on artwork from Coca-Cola.
Right.
Yeah.
They're really winning out on that one.
They really got Santa Claus.
But I'm sure Pepsi Man is cool too.
Yeah.
Maybe he brings presents to kids.
What's Fago Cola's mascot?
I think ICP.
Is it?
Yeah, Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, nice.
Wouldn't you say?
I knew a juggalo once.
I'll bet you did.
That was a fun time in my life. That was when I worked at McDonald's.
Would you ever be a juggalo?
No, probably not.
No.
Yeah.
No Hatchet Man for you.
I don't believe in the Reaper.
Hatchet Man, Pepsi Man,
Yeah.
the Noid,
Well, I'm a Coke guy.
Cool Spot.
I'm a Coke guy or RC Cola, which I think is RC Cola is basically the cola used in bars.
Well, that's
They
what a
rare-
bartender told me one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You told me that, so maybe it's not true.
Could be.
Yeah.
I never said what you're going to learn on this show is all fact.
My real question here is during Kate's return from Scranton to Chicago,
How
they
much
stop
Pepsi
at
does
all of
she
these
drink?
different locations. Where do you think they ate? Do you think they stopped at Hardee's, KFC? I mean, you got to eat something on the way home for Christmas.
You
in the
gotta
middle of
eat.
the night.
Do you think she drank Pepsi?
She probably drank milk. She probably went in. She said, "Give me that bottle of milk."
Pepsi and milk.
Yep, Pepsi and milk.
Pepsi and milk can really keep you going.
They stopped at Hardee's.
Those two things.
She said, "I don't want a Coca-Cola. I want milk and a Hardee's burger."
Hardee's, Carl's Jr. in other parts of the country.
Carl's and Hardee's are the same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't know
Carl's
that.
Jr. and Hardee's. I think it's the same restaurant. It's just called different things.
Do you like fast food? Like, if you go to fast food for a dinner or a lunch, where do you usually opt? It's probably Wendy's or McDonald's for me. I used to really like Taco Bell, especially,
I can't really do Taco Bell. I can't do Burger King.
no.
I'm going to go with Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Heck, I'm going to call it, that's fast food.
They got a hot
That's
and
fast
ready.
food. They got
go
hot
there.
and ready. Listen, brother, it's hot. It's ready. Hold on to your hats because we about to eat pizza.
I'm not saying
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not saying
That's what
that
I'm
we're
saying.
I'm not saying
That's what I'm saying. In closing, I think we've learned a lot today and we've discussed many important things, mostly Home Alone related. Your key takeaway would be, and the floor is yours.
I don't
Go
think
ahead.
people
You speak
really
now.
I don't think people really appreciate how pivotal role pizza plays in the film Home Alone. Not only is it the inciting incident, it's what causes Kevin to shove Buzz into a gallon of milk and just destroy all of these, passports and plane tickets. But it's also how he shows his growth. He starts off the story just eating junk food, watching rubbish, and then he decides at some point, I need something that's of substance.
Yeah, real sustenance.
He decides it's a cheese pizza.
Just for him.
Yeah, just for him. And so he orders it from Little Nero's.
And in this way, we all win.
And he doesn't fiddle around.
Thank you, Jimmy. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Are you going to have some pizza later?
No.
Okay.
Broadcast live from our studio in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, The Long Road Home Alone is hosted by Jimmy Dantes and Joey Z, and produced by Pat Muldoon. Be sure to tune in next time. Don't forget your reading glasses, and keep the change, you filthy animals.